Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Fireside Chat. It's always so special to have you guys around the fire with us, especially on a day where we're celebrating the mothers of this world. It is Mother's Day after all, so happy Mother's Day to all of you out there. That's our moms. It's, like I say, not enough can be said about mothers and the roles that they play in all of our lives, not only us as humans, but as wild animals too. Right, now, because we are sitting around the fire, it's always nice to have a discussion, so remember that we want to hear from all of you, and you can post your questions in the comment section below, and we'll try and answer as many as we can, and if you have any comments, those will work too. Remember also that WildEarth is doing a very special coffee table book, which will feature all of the sort of dramatic, epic, amazing sightings of the past few years. So if you would like a copy of that, please head on to the website. Now that we've got that all out the way, I can now introduce my esteemed colleague that is sitting next to me. It's lovely to have a lady around the fire as well.
Hi,
Hello,
Tristan.
Lauren. How are you?
Good.
Good. Most
So
of you will
lovely to
know
see you.
exactly who she is. She's not a foreign face. But it'll be nice to have Lauren with us because obviously, given that it's Mother's Day, a feminine touch is always a good thing, particularly as the mother of hyenas on Juma.
Always a good thing. Yes, a big shout out to all the mothers. I've not seen my mother in a very long time. So even although it's not Mother's Day in the UK, I will obviously give a big shout out to her. And of course, it's not just mothers, it's aunts and cousins and grandmas and all the females that look after people and mother us at the end of the day. We should celebrate them all.
Exactly, I agree with that. And I think it's the thing is you don't have to have a child to be a mother. You can be a mother figure to
Absolutely.
a whole bunch of
Trishala
people.
and I are in camp.
Yes, that's very true. I do feel sorry for the ladies in this camp because they are mother figure as well as disciplinarians and very much everything else.
And good cooks.
And good cooks. Oh, really? Hang on a second. When did you last cook?
I made chili paste last night.
Oh, you made chili paste. I believe it was absolutely delicious. Right, but the point of this evening is obviously to celebrate mothers. And I think to kick things off, we're going to celebrate my favorite mother that we see out here and one of my favorite mothering moments that I've had in my time at WildEarth. What is there? There's spots there. Just have a look there. Looks like spots there. Seb, straight in front of us.
Yeah.
There looks like there's spots in there. No, it's not. Go up a little bit for me. There's, look, there's a little cub. There's a little cub there. See the tiny little cub? There's a cub. We found the den. There is a tiny little cub there with Tundi. How awesome is that? Look at how small it is. I wonder how old this is. There it is, look. There it is. Oh, it's just fallen over. It's so tiny. Its feet are still white. Did you see that? Its paws are still white. I think this thing has been born today.
Yes.
Which is absolutely insane. Look at that little face. Tiny little ears. But there is a tiny new generation of the Karula lineage. Oh, how special was that? And the reason why that's one of my favorite mothering moments is not because Tundi was really doing anything protective of that cub or showing any sort of nature. It's just the fact that she was trusting enough to let us see her cub at the most vulnerable point it could possibly be at 12 hours old, or roughly. Those two cubs were absolutely tiny. So super special. I was ecstatic at that sighting, and obviously she's been a good mother. So
Of course she
kind of
has.
all works for Mother's Day.
I remember it well.
Yeah, you were here for that. I remember that we. Unfortunately, she didn't raise those cubs, so it's maybe not the greatest part of the mother's part. But
That's part of being a mother out there, though.
But she definitely still has given us so many other moments as a mother, and like I say, those little ones and seeing them for the first time was special. Pangolin Pup would like to know, I think, Lauren, you can answer as well, what is your favourite mother out here in terms of animal? I mean, I would guess you would say hyenas.
Do you know, that's a really difficult one, because I think every female in the animal kingdom has maternal instincts to a point as much as they can.
Yeah.
From fish to insects to birds. They can only do, I mean, maternal care stretches across from just laying eggs to then guarding those eggs and then to protecting the young. So that's a really tricky one. But of course, I am biased.
I mean, I would be biased. I actually particularly, this is a weird one, but I find crocodile mothers quite amazing.
Absolutely.
I mean, they do a lot to keep their little ones alive by protecting the nest, obviously, and then they transport them often with the gentle mouth of a killer. Those things could crush them, and they just pick them up and gently carry them to water, and then
That's maternal instincts right there.
Yeah. I think Ellie moms also are incredible
Remarkable.
moms, and then obviously, leopards for me would be, but hyenas too, everything. Like you say, I think that's the thing about motherhood, is that no matter how much, and this is making a human kind of standpoint on it, no matter how much I would imagine, think you're not ready, the instinct kicks in, and mothers
You're
just
ready.
make sure that they do everything they can to ensure the survival of their little ones.
100%. That's what they're born to do.
Exactly, and so all of them have really epic interactions with their offspring, as they kind of go about the sort of nurturing and giving care.
But I would still say hyenas.
You still going to say hyenas? It wouldn't be Juna and the Fireside Chat with Lauren if we didn't say hyenas. Talking about hyenas, one of your favourite sightings of a mother was a new mother learning very quickly that instinct is important when it comes to controlling the kids.
This cub is being naughty. Wants the cub to come and suckle. The cub has clearly got other ideas. And Tima's not having much luck. And Tima's definitely the adult that's here the most. She's a first-time mother, and her cub is the youngest. So her cub is more dependent on her than the others. But she's definitely here the most out of everybody.
Well, that was highly entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed that, Lauren. You must have had a good time with that. It was
I
classic.
couldn't stop chuckling. You can hear that through the sighting. I think in Tima, being a first-time mum, that was really special. Her motherly instincts have kicked in, and I think she wants to prolong that sort of cub phase for as long as she can. But unfortunately, her son is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and is clearly refusing to cooperate.
Well, that's exactly it. I think that's always one of my favorite things about young animals and their mothers is this relationship of stubbornness sometimes, where the cubs are just like, they just don't want to know anything about mom, and no matter how much mom is doing what's best for them, they're just like, no, I'm not doing it. And I think hyenas are possibly one of the best examples of that. Stuck in bed, you were wondering which animals do we think the moms have the toughest time in terms of tantrums that the little ones throw. Hyenas.
Again, hyenas, the tantrums those cubs throw, this noise they make when they don't get milk, it's incredible.
Squealing and carrying on and just generally being quite obstinate sometimes, like that little one, and not wanting to go down into the den. Tlalamba was a fairly obstinate little child who seemed to have, I suppose she didn't have tantrums, but she used to just ignore Tundi completely. Tundi would call and she'd be like, no, I'm not going, and would walk the other way.
Wonder where she got that from.
Exactly. So she was naughty, but I think for me, the one that really kind of has the biggest tantrums is the Ellies.
The elephant.
A little baby elephant can go buck wild when it wants to, and it screams and shouts, and it just makes the biggest deal about the fact that mom won't feed it, or
and mom will just keep feeding herself and just ignore.
Mom just ignores. She's got some of those moms have the best attitude. They're just like, whatever, you just do your thing and carry on, and yeah. So moms they deal with a lot, especially when it comes to tantrums. Did you ever throw a tantrum?
No, never.
Really? I reckon I did a few times.
I think I was a difficult child.
Were you a difficult child?
I think so.
I was saying this afternoon, Safari, that's I feel sorry for my mother, that's for sure. She deserves a medal. But anyway, that's another topic altogether. Now, the other kind of part of motherhood and growing and having little ones is the ability, obviously, to protect the offspring.
Absolutely.
And you had a pretty crazy sighting, which was very different and far from the themes that we've had so far, which is, cute and cuddly, of a very special mom trying to protect her assets.
We're having the most incredible sighting. Look at this. Look at this. It's protecting his babies. This is so magical. Water monitor and a thick knee. I think it's a water thick knee we've got here. Protecting his babies. There has to be eggs nearby. Wow. There's nothing quite like seeing mothers protect their offspring in the animal kingdom. You see how he's bending his legs right down? You see that? And using his wings. Technically, that monitor lizard could hurt the bird. Must be protecting eggs.
Oh, isn't that amazing, just to see how far a mother will go to make sure her offspring is safe? I mean, it's absolutely incredible sighting that.
It's a surprise sighting, and Dobby reenacting it behind the camera right now was actually even more surprising. But it really was, and it's nice to see mothers that are not just mammals. Yeah. We obviously relate closely, or at least females do, to mammals because we are mammals. But it's also really, really spectacular to see birds and sort of other groups of animals protecting their young like that.
Exactly, like you were saying, fish, birds, that's the thing, is that everything out here has that instinct to protect their offspring, particularly from a female side. I mean, there's a few cases where the females aren't that active, but I mean, to see a bird stand up to something that could potentially kill it, and the way that it does it is absolutely fascinating. Now, Sugar Bits was asking, what is your most memorable motherhood kind of protective sighting?
I probably would go for the one you've just seen. I think that's why, obviously, we just showed it. It was incredible to see something that technically that monitor lizard could absolutely attack and prey on, and it doesn't obviously attack the mother, but she does not give up. That sighting went on a really, really long time, and that mother was literally willing to risk her life, and I think, to me, it was absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many examples of that, and that is incredible to see. I was trying to think back about this and try and figure out one, and it's difficult because I've seen a lot of amazing things with even antelope, like running in and trying to protect their little ones, buffalo from, lions. I remember one buffalo, actually, that's shame. She actually ended up killing her own calf by trampling it, trying to keep lions off of it, so she broke the little calf's back. Which was the most hectic sighting I think I've ever had. But for me, I think the one standout sighting was with Salaesh. She had Tiani, and Tiani was tiny. She was only about 6 weeks old, and she was denned in front of the lodge at the time. And this hyena came, and Tiani was walking in the drainage line, like just by herself, and Salaesh was up on one of the sort of banks of the riverbed. And this hyena came straight towards this cub, and it was like, this cub's going to get killed, And she just came out of nowhere, like off of this bank, full tilt, landed on the hyena, gripped the hyena by the neck and started throttling it, and then chased the hyena, but far, like all the way along, and just kept biting at it and like going crazy. And then Tiani managed to run up and into this like rooted system,
what
and saved the cub. So I think for me, that's one of my standout ones. The bravery to attack a big female hyena is.
And do you remember one of my second drives I had, Hosanna? Who caught an impala lamb. I think all of you might remember that. I was very new and it was very traumatizing for me. James Hindry was also on camera, which was also traumatizing. And that mother of that lamb knew her own lamb had been caught and was watching and staring and waiting for her little lamb to be released.
Calling and,
it was a difficult sighting. And of course it ended not the way the mother wanted it, but I think that also showed fierce protectiveness from an impala.
Exactly. I mean, the antelope do show it from time to time as well. Sarata, no, I've got to remember the question. I think I've just forgotten.
Come on, Tristy.
You
can do it.
You can see all these grey hairs here. You were asking about... I've gone completely... that's right. Is it difficult not to intervene when with a baby when mom's not around? For me, yes. When... Like the other day, we had... So we haven't even spoken about this, but we had 2 little baby scrub hares that Marcel found, and they were in hypoglycemic shock. So they were shame. They were just sitting on the road in the sun, and obviously what had happened is their mother must have been killed, and they were having these seizures, and when their blood sugar crashes, they start to seize, and you can get them to come back around if you can get them into a warm space and get fluids and food into them. But unfortunately, by the time we kind of got there, they'd both died. But those are really tough things when you see like a little orphaned animal, and you know that the chances of it surviving is so little. Or when you see, like with Shadilu's cub that day, where this hyena ran in and grabbed this little defenseless cub and killed it. It's hard not to want to intervene, but obviously the natural world, there's things that we don't fully understand, and 100%. There's genetics and things that need to take place, and if we interfere, who's to say that maybe that particular animal didn't have a problem, and it's nature's way of just weeding out the weaker bloodlines. You don't know. So I think interfering in the natural system, it's balanced and it has its way. The more we interfere in it, the more
damage we do.
The more damaging we are to it. So I think you've got to be very careful, but it is hugely difficult not to intervene, particularly when you have an emotional connection to the animal that's potentially going to be affected.
I'm a very emotional human anyway.
I mean, imagine like the lions came into that den when all those little ones were there and just started trying to massacre cubs. It would just, you know what I mean? Like it takes, every part of you just breaks when that kind of thing happens. But luckily it's not all the time, and we very seldom are faced with those kinds of things. But talking about being faced with things, mothers unfortunately also faced, as we said, with a bit of unruly behavior from time to time from their offspring and from other members of whatever herd or clan that they are part of, and that means sometimes they've got to dish out a little bit of discipline.
Much as I love our big cats and our graceful leopards, our magnificent lions, okay, so those of you who have always wondered about the vocalizations of other elephants and have heard those sorts of sounds before, and we've often spoken about the oh shame, the little one's actually a bit concerned. It's all right, Benjamin, it'll be fine. So that looked very scary to everybody who was watching. It wasn't. We often speak about the fact that what upsets elephants is other elephants, and there she was getting a bit cross with that young bull's vicinity to, first of all, I think it's a young cow, vicinity first of all to her baby, but also to the tree that she wants to eat. And competition for food at the moment is incredibly fierce. So what you saw there actually looked like bullying. Looked a little bit painful, but she never used the full might of her strength. She just conveyed her lack of appreciation, for a lack of self-respect for her personal space. Now little one's moving off. It's got a bit confused in all of that ruckus, wondering what's going on, curious, and responding like a human child might do, which is with a fascination as to how the situation is playing out. But that was incredible. That's not often that you get to see an elephant actually pin down another elephant.
Well, it just goes to show sometimes when moms lose the plot, things can quickly escalate and discipline can be dealt out. I don't know if you ever got disciplined. I once got the wooden spoon flung across the room at me, which was well deserved at that point. But, you know, mums do need to discipline their offspring a little bit.
Many smacks on the bottom.
Yeah, and within this elephant's case, you know, with the stress of the drought and everything else, that Ellie got a bit of a smack on his bottom, I'm afraid, or her bottom. I can't remember if it was a boy or, you know. Do you think so?
I think so.
Really?
Discipline is important.
And in the natural world? I think so too.
100%.
Because discipline in the natural world is also, a lot of the time when these mothers do it, is for safety reasons. So, like, stopping, let's say, hypothetically, lion cubs that wander and they get shouted at and carried back, or in the case of Intima and that cub, is that it's for safety. It's for the cub's own safety to know that if it's left, it can't wander. It needs to stay where it is, because otherwise there's a very real chance that it can be killed.
Yeah, they need to learn.
Yeah,
need to
exactly.
teach. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, you know, these kind of things are vitally important. But Barbara is asking, what is your favorite baby animal?
Do you know, I'm going to go with such a general answer here, and I think all babies are cute.
They are.
Have you ever seen a baby manta ray?
They are super cute.
You've seen baby turtles?
Super cute.
Yeah, everything small is cute.
We've actually had this conversation a few times live, and I mean, there are obviously a few out there that are not pretty as babies. You know, most birds are not cute when they are featherless and pink and have these kind of blue eyes and horrible beaks. They look a bit alien-like. So they're not the cutest, but pretty much all mammals are. All cute.
Mammals.
It's hard to put a finger on it. I mean, we always have this discussion, but they are. For me, I think the really big animals are very cute when they're little.
Because they're so small.
Because they're so small, like a little baby hippo with all those little folds of skin. Super, super cute.
Even the baby
rhinos.
water monitor. Have you seen it?
There's two of them, though.
Really?
Yeah, I saw two. And they're like little. They're like this. They are very cute little things. So, I think any baby animal really has the ability to
melt your heart.
Tug on our heartstrings, that's for sure. No, I think so.
It's a difficult question.
It is, actually, you're right. Carrie, I don't know, Lauren, you probably have seen some interesting ones from underwater, but which animals have you seen giving birth in the wild? Have you ever seen anything underwater? Like dolphin, whales, or anything like that?
Nothing, only turtles laying their eggs on the beach. And
But that's epic.
that is epic because they are aquatic organisms. Yes, they breathe air, but they've got to pull that cumbersome body weight out of the water. I mean, they are heavy and pull themselves up on their natal beach. So they've got to find that beach that they were born on, which has probably changed over time from humans.
Exactly.
And somehow find a place. They've got to dig and dig and dig. It takes hours for them to do it. And then, of course, they turn themselves around and they lay the eggs. Then they have to, bring the sand back over, fill up the hole, and leave. So it doesn't look like there's much maternal care there, but that's a massive effort.
That's crazy. And epic to witness. I mean, the
really.
whole thing is amazing. And mammals-wise, anything here since you've been here? Impalas or anything like that? Not yet.
Not yet.
It takes a while. I've been fortunate in that I've seen, pretty much most of the antelope species, which has been lucky, and also Ellie give birth, which is pretty cool. Trying to think what else.
Giraffe in the Masai Mara. I did witness that.
I'm pretty sure you'd seen something.
Giraffe,
I don't know why it was in the back of my head that
Getting old.
you had. Don't worry, me too. We're the same age, so I can feel you. Don't worry. But yeah, I think most of those kind of things like cats, hyenas, you're not really going to see that stuff. They're going to go into places where they're going to hide completely, and they're going to make sure that they tuck those little ones away and in those intimate moments. And then, even things like hippos and stuff, water-bound.
Water-based.
And then obviously hatching of eggs and stuff is not really kind of seeing a live birth. Not that a live birth is actually that pretty, to be honest with you. Like watching little babies coming out.
It's definitely not.
I sometimes feel sorry for the mother. I remember we had a wildebeest here. It took her over 3 hours to give birth to this baby in the summer. Can you imagine? She was so uncomfortable. It was terrible. Felt very, very not very pleasant at all. But talking about kind of babies and bringing them into the world, once they're in the world, obviously they've got to start learning and they've got to start understanding what their world is about. And most mothers are pretty good at teaching their little ones just what they need to do in order to survive. We are very, very fortunate to catch them in this playful mood. Mom will spend many hours away from this cub every day as she searches for meals. And you can see that this cub is very happy that Mom is back. And we've been absolutely loving being able to watch the excitement of these two. How cool is this? Look, it's up on the log now. You're in such a playful mood this morning, and I'm very, very happy that you are, because you are giving us the most incredible insights into the life of a young, energetic, and playful leopard cub.
It reminds me of a moustache of soft drink you have as a child. Oh, I am loving the elephants. Yes, as I'm having the luck with the elephants lately, I have to agree. And I am loving it. Absolutely loving it. Look at this baby. Down on the elbow. Oh, trunks come up. Now, look at the comparison. You can see the adult next to her, next to the baby. Big cow. Look at the way that she's drinking and using her trunk, and the way that she has complete control. Look at that. And then look at the baby who's got little to no control. Is that trunk getting in your way? That's what it looks like. He's got a mask now. So cute.
Well, it's actually quite interesting with those two clips, because you can see two very kind of different ways of mothers sort of being part of a baby's sort of upbringing and learning process. I think with leopards, it's far more I'll keep a watchful eye, and you learn by exploring and doing, by actions. Whereas like Ellie's is a lot more showing,
Teaching.
yeah, and teaching. So those two contrast each other quite nicely, but you can see that both work in terms of being able to raise little ones. With leopards, it's very much an instinctual thing. If you watch them, like they always let the cub kind of, like they're very good at watching what's going on and making sure that the leopard cub sort of doesn't go too far, but they let the leopard cub pretty much explore and learn it for itself. The only time I've ever really seen them teaching is with climbing. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's amazing to see. They climb, then they call the cub from the top. And the cub obviously comes to mom, and as they get to the top, then the mom jumps out. And then the little one's going to come back down again. And then when it gets to the bottom, mom goes back up, and they just do this until the little one is proficient at climbing. And,
Oh, wow.
which is amazing. Whereas, the rest of their things with hunting and everything else is instinctual, but Ellie's is very much taught her.
Very, very much.
Yeah. And for a long period, that's the amazing thing with Ellie's.
I mean, Ellies are born to be mothers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Life in the herd is all about becoming a mother, a successful one at that.
Exactly. And then utilizing everything that you learn throughout to keep passing it through the generations to be able to find water and everything else.
Incredible.
Glenn, is it pure instincts that cats, select den sites? What do you think?
100%.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Cat cubs stay at den sites. Sorry, I thought you said select den sites. Sorry, Joe. Yes and no. There's an instinct that the world is big and scary and that they are very small and vulnerable, so they kind of stay. But mom definitely disciplines them when they come out in the beginning. So as that little one, if she's leaving, she'll snarl, she'll hiss, and she'll show that she's irritable and maybe even pick the cub up and take it back to the hole, like what we saw with Intima.
Intima.
Yeah, so I think with cats, there's an instinctual side to remain hidden, but there's also the mother has taught them.
If you think about being a cub, your entire world is mum. You don't know anything else. You only know mum's smell, the mum's taste of the milk, and your small little surroundings. Yeah, you can't see for a long time. You're very artificial.
Yeah.
So mom is everything. That's all you know for a long time. So yeah, a bit of both, I would say.
Exactly, yeah. I also think so. I think, cats stay where they need to be. And they sometimes don't, which leads them into trouble. I mean, that's why they sometimes, unfortunately, don't make it, is that if they explore a little bit too far or they do something silly and they attract the attention of a bird of prey or a hyena or, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
that they can be killed. And so that's the reality of the whole thing, is that,
And that's the stage the hyena cubs are at now.
they're
on their own,
naughty at the moment.
exploring.
They are everywhere. And they're going to get themselves into trouble if they come across lions or something like that. Susan, that's an interesting question actually, and quite a cool one. I quite like it. Susan's asking if our mothers, well, I mean, obviously your mother wouldn't have influenced me, but if our mothers influenced us in getting into wildlife.
100% no. My mom, I sent her a photo of Hosanna, and she said, "That is such a lovely cheetah." I sent her.
She's not from Africa, so that's okay.
Definitely not in terms of she's not a wildlife enthusiast, but in terms of allowing me to just do whatever I want to do. My mom is my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. Thanks, Mom. And yeah, she knew I wanted to go into wildlife and just let me do whatever I wanted to do. So in terms of that, yes, but in terms of my wildlife passion, no.
Yeah, I think I'm in a bit of a similar boat. I mean, my mom is not a huge wildlife. Neither of my parents, funny enough, it was more my grandparents that got me into wildlife. But hugely supportive of the journey to get there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so not so much, I'm growing up in the bush and was taught by them, but I was supported by them, and to become a guide, everyone thinks is a wonderful holiday where you get paid a lot. It's not the case. It takes parents' support to get through to the point where you can actually stand on your own 2 feet. So, I mean, I'll always be thankful for my mother, particularly.
That's what moms are for, right?
Exactly, for allowing me that opportunity and for kind of financially allowing me to get to the point
Where you are now.
where I am now, which is sitting in a chair around a fire talking about wildlife.
You made it. Just
I made it. Woo. All right, so on that note, everybody, with that bombshell, it's time for us to say goodnight. Remember, if you do want a copy of the coffee table book, head on to the website. It's going to have a lot of the most memorable sightings, including some of our mothers in action. Lauren, thank you so much for being part of this evening.
You're so welcome, Tristan.
Always a pleasure to be alongside you. I hope all of you have a wonderful night wherever you may be, and enjoy the rest of your Mother's Day. And to all the moms out there, thank you for everything that you do, and glad that we have a day that celebrates all of you. From Lauren and myself, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you all tomorrow morning on our Sunrise Safari.